In the realm of human curiosity, there exists a controversial landscape of ideas that has both fascinated and polarized the masses. Conspiracy theories are often deeply entrenched as they serve fundamental psychological human needs: group identity, certainty, safety, and control. Today we'll take a critical look at the top 10 conspiracy theories of all time. Number 1. The 9/11 conspiracies. Evidence strongly supports that the 9/11 terrorist attacks were a result of a conspiracy involving Osama bin Laden and a group of Saudi hijackers. However, some people find this explanation too simplistic and propose more intricate theories. These conspiracy theorists suggest that high-ranking officials like President George Bush and Vice President Dick Cheney had inside knowledge of the events at the World Trade Center and Pentagon. Certain conspiracy theories even incorporate anti-Semitic ideas, implicating Israel in orchestrating the attacks. One popular claim argues that the Twin Towers were brought down by controlled demolition due to the belief that jet fuel couldn't melt steel beams. Nevertheless, a 2006 Nova documentary refuted this, explaining that fires on multiple floors could cause skyscraper columns to fail catastrophically. Other claims are countered through simple logic. For instance, if a hijacked plane did not crash into the Pentagon, where is American Airlines Flight 77 and its 64 passengers? This conspiracy theory mistakenly attributes bureaucratic incompetence, assuming that the government's efficiency and capability should have prevented or better handled the attacks. Number 2. Princess Diana's murder. After the tragic death of Princess Diana in a Paris highway tunnel on August 31, 1997, conspiracy theories emerged rapidly. People were shocked that such a beloved and prominent figure could die so suddenly. Mohamed Al-Fayed, the billionaire father of Dodi Al-Fayed, who also died in the accident, promoted one of these theories. He claimed that the incident was, in fact, an assassination orchestrated by British intelligence agencies at the behest of the royal family. Despite Al-Fayed's efforts to promote the theory, a 2006 inquiry dismissed his claims as unfounded, and the coroner's inquest the following year also found no substance to his conspiracy theory. The jury concluded that Diana and Al-Fayed were unlawfully killed due to the negligence of their drunken chauffeur and pursuing paparazzi. Interestingly, even Prince Harry believed in the conspiracy theory at one point. In January 2023, he expressed the belief that Diana might still be alive and could have faked her own death. He shared this perspective during an interview with Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes. The conspiracy theories surrounding Princess Diana's death continue to captivate public imagination, but official investigations and statements have consistently refuted their validity. Number 3. Subliminal advertising. In the world of advertising, the idea of subliminal messages affecting people's behaviors sparked a conspiracy theory. Authors like Wilson Bryan Key and Vance Packard claimed that hidden subconscious messages in advertisements were widespread and harmful. This led to public outcry and FEC hearings, but much of their claims were later discredited, and several key studies on subliminal advertising were exposed as fraudulent. In the 1980s, concerns about subliminal messages extended to the music industry, with bands like Styx and Judas Priest facing allegations of using subliminal messages in their songs. The latter band was even sued for allegedly causing a teenager's suicide, although the case was ultimately dismissed. While subliminal mental processing does exist and can be tested, perceiving something subconsciously doesn't necessarily have a significant impact on behavior. There's no inherent advantage of subliminal advertising compared to regular advertising. Filmmakers, for example, often include brief, barely noticeable flashes in their work. However, getting someone to buy or do something solely based on such fleeting impressions is much more challenging and not as influential as conspiracy theorists suggest. Number 4. Moon landing hoax. In 1969, NASA achieved a historic milestone by landing astronauts on the moon. However, by the 1970s, an unusual conspiracy theory emerged, suggesting that the moon landing never actually happened. This notion was propagated through a self-published book in 1976, titled We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion Swindle, and a 1978 movie called Capricorn 1. Even in 2001, a Fox documentary called Conspiracy Theory, Did We Land on the Moon?, gave airtime to these claims, questioning the authenticity of the entire Apollo moon landing program. Numerous debunkings of the moon hoax claims have surfaced, and the existence of hundreds of pounds of moon rocks, studied and verified worldwide, further supports the reality of the moon landings. These rocks are of extraterrestrial origin, leaving the question of how NASA acquired them if not during the moon missions. It also raises doubts about why scientists from various countries would willingly participate in an alleged hoax orchestrated by the American Space Agency. The conspiracy theory has offended many astronauts who participated in the moon missions. In 2002, when Buzz Aldrin was confronted by conspiracy theorist Bart Sibrel, accusing him of faking the moon landings, Aldrin, then 72 years old, responded by punching Sibrel in the jaw. Number 5. Paul McCartney's death. As of 2023, Paul McCartney is very much alive and actively touring. He continues to give interviews, maintain a website, and occasionally appears in the tabloids. However, there exists a curious conspiracy theory suggesting that Paul McCartney died in 1966. According to the Paul is Dead conspiracy, on November 9, 1966, Paul McCartney had an argument with the other Beatles, stormed out of the studio, and tragically died in a car accident, where he was supposedly decapitated. To conceal this event, the band allegedly hired a look-alike and sound-alike to replace him. Interestingly, the band supposedly dropped clues in their album covers and lyrics to hint at this elaborate cover-up. For instance, on the cover of the Abbey Road album, all 4 Beatles are seen walking across a zebra crossing, but McCartney is depicted barefoot and out of step with the others, leading fans to speculate its significance. Despite the band's public denials and numerous appearances by McCartney himself, the conspiracy theory persisted and devoted fans united in search of more clues. However, the reality is that Paul McCartney is alive and well, disproving this intriguing but unfounded conspiracy. Number 6. John F. Kennedy's assassination. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy was tragically shot during a motorcade in Dallas. This event has since become the center of various conspiracy theories, sparking widespread speculation and giving rise to numerous books, articles, and films. One of the lingering questions is whether Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone or if there was a second gunman on the grassy knoll. The circumstances surrounding the assassination fueled suspicions. Lee Harvey Oswald was killed just 2 days after the shooting in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters while surrounded by police officers by a man connected to the mob. This raised doubts and led many to believe that there was more to the story. Several shadowy culprits have been proposed as possible masterminds behind the assassination, including Fidel Castro's government, anti-Castro activists, organized crime, the CIA, Vice President Lyndon Johnson, and others. Given the nature of the presidency, it's not surprising that presidents have many enemies. The official Warren Commission report, which investigated Kennedy's death, did not find evidence of overarching conspiracies, but conspiracy theories continue to persist. The Kennedy assassination remains a topic of endless debate and fascination. Number 7. Roswell crash and cover-up. In 1947, an incident occurred in Roswell, New Mexico, where something crashed on a remote ranch. While both skeptics and believers agree on this fact, the government initially claimed it was a flying saucer but later retracted the statement, stating it was a weather balloon. However, the most compelling evidence suggests that it was neither a flying saucer nor a weather balloon, but a top-secret military balloon known as Project Mogul, designed for high-altitude operations. The descriptions provided by original eyewitnesses closely matched photos of Project Mogul balloons, including their silvery finish and strange symbols on the side. Contrary to popular belief, stories about crashed alien bodies did not emerge until many decades later. In fact, for nearly 30 years after the incident, no one considered the Roswell crash to be related to anything extraterrestrial or unusual. The notion of it being connected to aliens surfaced only when a book on the topic was published. Despite the secrecy surrounding the incident, the cover-up was not about hiding a crashed saucer, but rather a Cold War-era spying program. The truth behind the Roswell incident points to a military operation and not an encounter with extraterrestrial beings. Number 8. Protocols of the Elders of Zion. This anti-Semitic book emerged in Russia in 1905, falsely claiming to expose a Jewish conspiracy for world domination. It described how a small group of powerful Jews would target Christians' morality, finances, and health. The idea of a Jewish conspiracy is not new and has been propagated by notable figures such as Henry Ford and Mel Gibson. Henry Ford even funded the publication of 500,000 copies of the book in 1920. During the 1930s, the Nazis used the protocols as a justification for their genocide against Jews, and Adolf Hitler referenced it in his book Mein Kampf. Despite being thoroughly discredited as a hoax and forgery, the book continues to be in print and widely circulated worldwide. Its existence perpetuates harmful stereotypes and serves as a reminder of the dark history of anti-Semitism. Number 9. The Satanic Panic. During the 1980s and 1990s, the United States was consumed by a disturbing conspiracy theory involving an underground network of Satanists who allegedly kidnapped, tortured, and abused children. Despite being entirely baseless, these conspiracy theories wreaked havoc on innocent lives. A pivotal moment in this hysteria was Geraldo Rivera's sensational NBC special Devil Worship, Exposing Satan's Underground, which aired on October 28, 1988. Rivera relied on self-proclaimed Satanism experts, misleading statistics, crimes with weak connections to Satanism, and sensationalized media reports to make shocking claims. He alleged that over 1 million Satanists existed in the country and that they were likely in your own town. The panic originated from the belief that memories of abuse could be repressed and recovered through hypnosis and therapy. This concept gained popularity from the 1980 book Michelle Remembers, co-authored by a Canadian psychiatrist and his patient, whom he later married, in which Michelle purportedly recollected memories of ritual satanic abuse conducted by her mother. The situation escalated in 1983 with the McMartin preschool trial, where daycare owners were accused of sexually abusing a child. The police sent letters to parents, suggesting that their children may have been abused, leading to suggestive questioning of preschoolers. Children provided alleged eyewitness accounts of secret tunnels and witches flying through the air. The daycare owners faced trials and retrials for 7 years before most of the charges were dismissed or acquitted. However, the damage was done, and similar accusations spread across daycares nationwide. In 1992, FBI agent Kenneth Lanning debunked the rumors of ritual satanic crimes. Anthropology professor Philip Stevens, Jr. referred to the widespread allegations as the greatest hoax perpetrated upon the American people in the 20th century. The episode served as a grim reminder of how false narratives and questionable investigative practices can lead to devastating consequences for innocent individuals and communities. Number 10. Chemtrails. As airplanes fly, they create water condensation trails known as contrails, which typically disperse quickly. However, some conspiracy theorists believe these contrails, referred to as chemtrails, are part of a malevolent scheme. The chemtrails conspiracy theory suggests that these trails are filled with various chemicals deliberately released into the atmosphere by scientists and governments for unknown reasons, ranging from biological warfare to population control, geoengineering, or weather manipulation. Researchers studying the impact of clouds on global temperatures have faced harassment from chemtrails believers who suspect them of being involved in a large-scale covert operation to spray undisclosed chemicals into the atmosphere. Despite scientific studies, like one conducted in 2016 that found no evidence of unusual contrails or unexplained contamination in the environment, true believers continue to reject the debunking. The conspiracy theory persists, with some adherents remaining steadfast in their beliefs, as reported by The Guardian in 2017. Conspiracy theories have a troubling impact, leading to prejudice, risky health behaviors, climate denial, and disturbing actions tied to movements like QAnon and COVID-19 conspiracy. They can also alienate people from mainstream politics and science, causing harmful effects and spreading misinformation. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more,